What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of the tribe, and welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your bald boy Scribe. How the devil are we all doing today? I hope you're well. You are looking rather beautiful. I can't actually see you, but I'm trusting that you're beautiful. Alrighty, so, little something I want to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting on about Maul. So, Maul's event, I'm talking about this new Maul, right? Maul's event was only live for the last month of the last era, and we've got Cassian's coming in at about 2 months time, right? Everybody's enjoying playing with the level 6 Claire or whatever her name is. I'm sure, right? But the question remains, and the one that CG is unwilling to answer at this point in time, is when is Maul coming back and how expensive is he going to be? What's going to be his requirements? Because they've been keeping rather stum about that. For unknown reasons, because it almost feels like they're almost certainly just holding it back for the sake of it. But we do have some information that might be pertinent. Let's talk about it. Alrighty, so Maul, if you hadn't watched my video from yesterday, it all bleeds into one for me at this point, I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. Maul is actually pretty darn good. Turns out he's a little bit angry, he's a little bit cash fueled, but that's okay. So this guy, when he first came around and was first available as the end of the era came to a close, it was very clear what the requirements were, right? But when you check the journey guide right now, it says this journey guide is undergoing recalibration. Please check back later. Check back. How is that useful? It's not is how I would best describe it. Now, when we look at the requirements for Maul, what were they when they first came around? Essentially, it was all of the era characters, depending on if you're getting 4-star, 5-star unlock, yeah? That's going to change things, right? If you wanted just a 4-star unlock, let's just go into a fresh thing over here. All you really needed was your brand new characters. This is the only problem I have with this, right? Is there's no way for... Actually, can we filter it by the era? No, I doubt we can. So we needed to have Stormtrooper Luke, for example. We needed to have him at 4-star alongside all of the other units, apart from Darth Vader's Duel's End and Inquisitor Barriss, essentially. Oh, no, we did need Inquisitor Barriss. That's absolutely right. So, for example, we needed IG-90 over here. We needed to have Chewbacca and Yoda. My keyboard double types on E and A. It's really annoying. So Yoda and Chewbacca. We needed to have Asajj in there. And we needed to have Barriss, right? So, to get the 4-star unlock, what you needed to have was these guys at era level 45 for Luke and Luke alone. So how does that really translate to when the event comes back? A lot of people won't have him at 4 stars, maybe want to unlock him at 4 stars or 5 stars. We don't really know what that really looks like. It's below gear 12. What I can imagine is it's still going to require blanket requirements across. I don't think it's necessarily going to change. I think we might get a 4-star unlock or we might get a 5-star unlock for the first time around, but I'm not actually certain that they're going to do that. They might not give us a 4-star, 5-star unlock. They might just go straight to 7-star and have blanket requirements. They said that when he comes back, he is going to be of a higher level of requirement, and we don't know what that looks like because they won't tell us, okay? However, when we first had this come round into play, essentially we needed to have the 4-star characters over here, and we just needed era level 45, I think it was for Luke. It might have been 55. And then when you wanted to get to the second stage, you wanted to get the 5-star unlock, you needed to have Yoda and Chewbacca, Yoey, Choda, whatever you want to call him, and they needed to be at 5 stars instead of the 4 stars, and you needed to have, I want to say, 65 or 75 for the unlock, something there or thereabouts, right? And to get the full 7-star unlock, you needed to have all the characters, and you also needed to have Darth Vader's Duel's End, right? This dude over here, and if you wanted the 6-star unlock or 7-star, right? If you wanted 6-star or 7-star unlock for this, you needed to go in and have him either at era level 70 to play the 6-star, or you needed to have everybody at era level 85 for the final tier. And that's a little bit pricey, a little bit costly, right? What does error level 85 translate to? In real world terms, though, in the error system. If we were to go to error level 85 and we were to check and see what it's like, it's going to be somewhere around Relic 2, right? 80 to 87, Relic 2. However, if we were to go ahead and actually check the journey guide to look at what does tier 4 requirements look like, generally speaking, for legendary units, we can make some assumptions, right? You can go to Hans Millennium Falcon down here. It's a fleet, no relic requirements, right? Then you've got C-3PO. There's no relic requirements. There's a couple of GP gates to try and get in to actually beat the event, but it's not hard. No relic requirements, no real relic requirements for DR and Jedi Knight Revan. Then we get to Starkiller. And Starkiller requires over here, he needs 4 characters, at Relic 5 in order to unlock. Grand Inquisitor. Relic 5 Inquisitors. Afra. Over here. Relic 5 Hondo, 000, BT1, Sarnastaros. Gungans. Jar Jar. Relic 5 requirements. Can you see where I'm getting with this? Is that, generally speaking, for the last several years, whenever we've had a new legendary unit added to tier 4 of the journey guide, they have always been Relic 5 requirements as they've come available. With that being said, it makes most sense that essentially we will just need all of the new marquees at Relic 5 to unlock Maul. It is not certain. It is not a lock. CG may change it and they may actually add additional characters to the requirements, but I doubt it. I think it's just going to be those marquee characters. Now, there is something that did slide into my DM which kind of prompted this video. I want to show you that further reinforces that stance of the requirements for Maul, okay? So this came from Smart Dognut, who's a very smart Dognut and not a donut at all, as when I first read his name. Over here, when we look at what the original marquee announcement for Luke was, at the bottom here, we can see something rather telling. Unlock Stormtrooper Luke in the upcoming Situation Normal marquee event that gives out daily rewards for the duration of the event. Stormtrooper Luke is also one of the requirements at Relic 5 to unlock the Era Journey event and earn Maul Hate Fueled, the spider-like robotic version of the former Sith Lord had seen in the Clone Wars. So this was based on an original, I think it was an original drawdown, essentially, data mine of the actual newsletters that we get when we get new marquees come into the game, right? So we've already got some sort of soft confirmation here. I don't know if this has been rebuffed or rebuked or, declined since then, but it does feel like they're already teaming it up for Relic 5 being the base requirement, essentially. And that would make sense. It aligns to everything else that we see within this tier, apart from the earlier events within were no real Relic levels, or Relic levels was in its infancy, okay? And we can see a similar sort of thing over on tier 5. Tier 5 has got similar kind of requirements, except they're all Relic 7 for Balin, they're all Relic 7 for Bo-Katan Mandalore. They're not Relic 7 all in all for Luke, I don't believe. I think they're all a little bit higgledy-piggledy. You go from anywhere from Relic 3 to Relic 3, I guess. My guess is Relic 3. Oh no, actually, was that Relic 7? And I was looking at something wrong? Yeah, 3 specific units. No, it does say Relic Tier 3. So, looks like Luke, for some reason, is Relic Tier 3. Gas doesn't actually have any Relic requirements necessarily, I don't think. You just have a hard time if you don't have certain units at Relic. And Malak, once again, was just a GP requirement back in the early days. So, I mean, to me, it seems pretty clear-cut. Maul is probably going to be Relic 5. When is he coming back? We still don't know. There is still absolutely no confirmation from what I can see from CG about when Maul is going to come back. Thankfully, if you have got him at 4-star, 5-star, it seems like he's still actually pretty good at 4-star, 5-star, and getting his Focus Datacron only helps that. In the meantime, you can use him with Barriss and the Helicron, and that seems to work really, really well. If I were to guess how long it will take, if we were being incredibly optimistic, I would say at the end of this era, when we get Cassian Andor, and I don't mean the 4-star, 5-star unlock, I mean literally right at the end of the era, I think that's a very optimistic timeline for Maul. I almost think it's going to be at the end of another era after that. I think it's going to be 6 months. The only reason I think it's going to be 6 to 9 months is that in their original announcement that they made, they did allude to it being a significant amount of time after the event is finished. And usually 3 months is the normal cadence, so they wouldn't refer to that as a significant amount of time, right? So I'll just get that up. I have gone over this in previous videos, by the way, previous videos. So over here, this is what I'm referring to, is the 10-year anniversary. And if we look at significant, okay. So it says here, error journey guides will work a little bit differently. We've got, you know, 5 error marquees, 4-star error level 45, yada, yada, yada. The final post here says, a significant amount of time after the error, the journey guide will become a legacy event, but will have different requirements as the marquees will no longer be error units. So this to me talks about when the event comes back properly, it's going to be a significant amount of time, which to me says it's longer than 3 months, because a normal amount of time would be 3 months. Significant amount of time, is that 6 months? Is that 9 months? I don't know. So I would say temper your expectations to be 6 months time. Okay, 6 months plus. The good thing about that is it does give people some actual time to farm up all the necessary units, okay? So there's been a lot of confusion. This will be pseudo part 2 going into this. There's been a lot of confusion as to when these characters are going to be farmable, okay? So I want to break it down for you right now. It's pretty clear-cut and straightforward. Essentially, next Tuesday, next Tuesday, once Claire's marquee is gone and we've got the error battles coming in and the error challenges coming in, and it's like the off week, that is when I believe we will get the first appearance of Luke in shipments, okay? Everybody will essentially go to shipments at that point. And then every 2 weeks after that, Luke should, in theory, be farmable. And then every 2 weeks after that, it's going to be the next unit, the next unit, the next unit, the next unit, the next unit. Okay? That's how it's going to progress over time. With that in mind, it means basically we've got like 3 weeks before Luke is farmable, and then 5 weeks, 7 weeks, 9 weeks, 11 weeks, 13 weeks, basically. So it's going to slowly become farmable over time. However, they should be going all into shipments next Tuesday. So you'll be able to use your crystals to get these shards, but it's not the most cost-efficient way of doing it. Usually costs about 80 crystals per shard. You can certainly do it that way if you've got a decent horde and you don't want to wait. But what that means, essentially, is you're basically going to be waiting a significant amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're basically waiting another 2 or 3 months for these guys to become farmable. All right? So for them to become farmable takes that long time. So if it is 6 months away, at least it gives you a little bit of time for you to farm these shards when they become farmable. All right? So silver lining, if you're trying to do this the long way free to play, I would recommend, if you are looking to get him unlocked, do start farming them straight away. You don't necessarily have to use the shipments. If you are going to be using the shipments, use it on the characters starting in reverse order, because those are the units that you're going to have the least amount of time to farm. Okay? We don't know what this situation looks like. This error system situation is all brand new to us, and CG are being very, very tight-lipped about how they want this whole thing to roll out, right? They're being very, very close-guarded with what this is supposed to look like. We're all guessing here. I'm just trying to make some educated guesses, and, you know, like I said, I had that person post that that snippet from the Luke marquee into my DMs showing R5 as a requirement, and I thought I would go over what that looks like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if this was helpful to you, please give me a like. If it wasn't helpful to you, like it anyway, because, you know, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, and I love you dearly. I'll see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.